SLIISTPSP. Sensing logical intro Tim. Craftsman, artisan, or archetype Jean Gombine. Jung. Introverted. Sensing. Logical. Irrational. Renan. Dynamic. Obstinate. Aristocratic. Strategic. Constructivist. Carefree. Serious. Judicious. Positivist. Result. Asking. Groups. Delta Quadra. ST Pragmatists. IP Temperament. Velenko. Communication style, cold-blooded. Romance style, caring. Forms of thinking, vortical synergetic cognition. Introverted. He focuses on his reaction to the outside world. His perception of the world is a component of himself. He is interested in the interactions between the self and the outside world. Instead of manipulating real objects, uses imagination and reflection. Sensing. He is emphasizing concrete, tangible details that can be directly experienced, making him more realistic and down to earth. More aware of his surroundings and living in the present moment. Pay attention to details rather than the big picture. Logical. He sees the world through the lens of rules and logical connections. Makes decisions based on logic often. Prefers logical evaluations, right or wrong, and prefers argumentation over persuasion. Irrational. He absorbs information without evaluating it or applying it to his own experience. Wait and see or make a rasher decision. Stress tolerance is high. Unpredictability and spontaneity. Serious. They are bad at noticing emotional background, and do not separate the emotional aspect, particularly fun, from the activity. Judicious. Natural state is relaxation. Work best when they can relax beforehand, and are mobilized only for the duration necessary. Aristocratic. He is inclined to perceive and refer to other people, and themselves, by means of groupings and categories. Carefree. They believe that one can't foresee everything. Result? He does things randomly, detached from processes and tends to multitasking. Obstinate. Ideas are personal, but resources are freely shared and manipulated. It's hard to change his mind. Dynamic. He perceives events in a continuous sequence, continuous changes rather than discrete states. Constructivist. He tends to minimize the emotional elements of interaction, preferring to focus on the business elements. Positivist. He is inclined to optimize, polish, and improve already existing things, systems, or processes. Socially and intellectually more trusting and interested at first. Strategic. He focuses on goals, and manipulates them, with methods unsettled. Asking. Typically, he speaks in questions. Prefers dialogues to monologues. Tends to use short remarks, because they are more interested in hearing the other person than self-expression. IP temperament. He perceives reality as a constant, gradual, and often imperceptible change. This results in a relaxed tendency to take things as they come and adapt to them. IPS, as introverts, are relaxed and somewhat passive when it comes to initiating relationships with others. ST Pragmatists. Its interactions are likely to be based on sports activities or discussion of, or cooperation in, projects related to manual work and engineering. Very typical examples of groups formed mainly of members of this club are groups of car enthusiasts where actively repairing and refurbishing them with their own hands is a key component of their activities. Delta Quadra. Serious, judicious, aristocratic. Delta types are people who believe that they must work hard to achieve their goals, rather than rely on luck, speculation or group effort. They like to talk about new beginnings, opportunities for personal growth and their plans and prospects for the future, and have a philosophy of self-reliance. Communication style, cold-blooded. They are not confident in their feelings and act restrained in their emotional displays. They understand communication as an exchange of lacking information of explanatory nature. Such communication doesn't lose much if it is carried out only in a written form. Forms of thinking, vortical synergetic cognition. It is synthetic, positive, and inductive. The science of how order emerges from chaos is known as synergetics. In ancient Greek, the word synergy means coordinated action. It is known as chaos theory or nonlinear dynamics in the West. Synergetics is distinguished by non-equilibrium, nonlinear, and unstable dissipative states. Synergetics think fluidly as dynamics, with tints of one thought cascading into another. Positivists gravitate toward a point of attraction. They frequently turn backwards and jump over previous levels as involutionary types, displacing the flow of their thoughts like a vortex or fluctuating storm. Romance style, caring. Attraction is sparked by aesthetic and mental attributes of the prospective partner, but cools if such attributes are accompanied by an overly aggressive behavior. Interest is kept up if their partner is welcoming of their care and attention, and even evokes it, and seeks them out. SLI Model A. SI Program. Ego Mental Valuable Inert Verbal Acceptable Strong 4D. TE Creative Zone. Ego Mental Valuable Contact Productive Verbal Strong 3D. NI Role. Super Ego Mental Non-Valuable Weak Contact Acceptable Nonverbal 2D. FE Trouble Zone. Super Ego Mental Non-Valuable Weak Inert Productive Nonverbal 1D. NE Suggestive. Super ID Vital Valuable Weak Contact Acceptable Verbal 1D. FI Activating. Super ID Vital Valuable Weak Inert Productive Verbal 2D. SE Ignoring. ID Vital Non-Valuable Strong Inert Acceptable Nonverbal 3D. TI Standard Area. ID Vital Non-Valuable Strong Contact Productive Nonverbal 4D. SI Program. He has a high ability to perceive internal physical states in oneself and others, comprehend how these states are achieved, and replicate and avoid these physical states. These people are quick to detect and express their discomfort, and they take creative ways to alleviate it, or simply move away from whatever is hurting them. TE Creative Zone. He values factual accuracy over ideological consistency, and objective, sharp communication, over carefully chosen words that prevent creating a bad mood. A picture of the external environment that is efficient, rational, and makes sense is critical to their well-being, yet they do not feel compelled to be proactive or productive. NI Role. He can shift his focus to longer-term implications and personal imagination, but only for short periods of time. His natural choice is to focus on his immediate surroundings and sensations, or on the task at hand. If this function is underdeveloped, he may overplan his future while neglecting to examine the reasons for doing so. FE Trouble Zone. He tries hard to never let himself come apart at the seams emotionally, or even let out strong feelings publicly. This makes him feel self-conscious and vulnerable to painful criticism. He dislikes attempts by others to get him to cheer up or join the fun. NE Suggestive. He wishes for his uniqueness to be recognized, appreciated, and encouraged by a small group, but avoids promoting his originality and talents in new or big group situations. He has difficulty identifying his distinctive talents, which often leads to a tendency to postpone defining long-term work goals. FI Activating. He longs for stable personal relationships, built on mutual trust and understanding, where he can easily discuss deeper and private feelings and experiences. He lacks the initiative to initiate such interactions, and normally expects others to do so, admiring those who do. SE Ignoring. He avoids confrontation and clashes, but if they are unavoidable, fierce and unyielding for small periods of time. Participation in violent physical activities in which such battles may occur, such as in some sports, is driven not by the fights themselves, but by the exhilarating sensations generated by those activities. TI standard area. He frequently critiques others' points of view logically, dissecting assertions and postulates and demonstrating that they are logically faulty. However, he does not overdo it, and does not expect reality to be accurately portrayed in a neat logical systematic form. SLI intertype relationships. Dual IEE. Identical SLI. Activator EII. Mirror LSE. Semi-dual ILE. Kindred SEI. Benefactor LII. Supervisor ESE. Extinguishment SLE. Superego IEI. Quasi-identical LSI. Conflictor EIE. Mirage SEE. Business ILI. Beneficiary ESI. Supervise ELI.